When I was 10 years old, I had my first real crush. It was 4th grade, and summer was approaching. There were rumors spreading around about a girl in my class named Maddie who apparently liked me. Or rather, more than liked me. As a young kid who hadn't yet been conditioned by the internet, societal norms, or proper manners, I decided to confront her about it. "Is it true that you like someone?" I said. She replied simply, "Yes." After asking her, "Who?" 1,000 times in the hallway in between classes, she told me I was starting to sound like an owl, and she stormed away. But eventually, she did open up about her feelings towards me, and I told her that I had a crush on her too. But then, summer hit, and I no longer had any way to see her other than romanticizing her yearbook picture in my room. I didn't have a phone, and at most, I'd be lucky to see her online in AOL Instant Messenger. Now, how many of y'all remember that? As the first few weeks of summer went on, I couldn't bear being away from her for any longer. So I decided to look up her house phone number in our school's directory and give her a call. After around 9 rings, it went to voicemail, and I left one explaining that it was her classmate Cole trying to talk to her. I then proceeded to call her another 5 times because I had no conception in my head of what a creepy guy would be like, and I was being that creepy guy. Finally, she called me back after a few days and she said to me, "My mom says you need to stop calling me. It's getting weird." She hung up and we barely spoke to each other again. As I was reflecting back on this story when I thought about the idea for this video, I wondered how radically different this interaction was from what most 10-year-olds do now. And not just 10-year-olds, but people of all ages. It's clear a lot has changed in terms of dating and how we interact and form relationships in the past 15 years. With kids in single-digit ages having access to any information they could possibly desire at their fingertips, dating apps on the rise, and individuality becoming more realistic, the landscape of intimacy has morphed into something scary. The number of sexless men between 18 to 30 years old tripled from 2008 to 2018. And I can only imagine that it got much, much worse when the pandemic hit. With this has come the rise of the involuntary celibate movement, or incel for short. A group of men who are convinced that they cannot and will not be able to form a relationship with women ever due to all the problems brought upon by the modern dating market. How much of these men's assumptions are based on fact, and how much of it is men projecting their trauma as a way to cope with the fact that they're fat, lazy, and socially awkward? Today, I want to explore that question, the ways in which dating and marriage have changed, and what young men struggling with loneliness can do to improve their current situation so they don't end up an incel. Because that is a very, very dangerous and lonely path that you do not want to tread on. More choices, more opportunity. First off, we need to deal with the elephant in the room: online dating. As I was doing research for this video, diving into the depths of internet forums, YouTube videos, and studies, I found a common theme throughout almost all of them. Most of the data collected had to do with dating apps like Tinder. Sadly, this is where a lot of researchers and incels seem to be basing their ideas off of. Before I was doing research, I thought that, yeah, this seems like a pretty good idea to see where dating is in the modern world. I feel like most of my friends in real life have at least tried online dating, but what I found shocked me. The percentage of adults who use Tinder above the age of 18 in the United States by April 2020 was only 13% total. 17% of men have used Tinder, and just 7% of women have used Tinder. Now, there were only 602 respondents for this study, but let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's closer to 20% total who have used Tinder, especially after the pandemic. That means 80% of the dating market over the age of 18 has not even used Tinder once. 80%. Not only that, but 80% of the people on dating apps like Tinder are men, and only 20% are women. It's completely skewed in women's favor, meaning they have endless options that they can choose from on these apps. When you take 20% of people on a dating app and you allow them to choose from a pool of 80% of people on that app, it's no wonder that pretty much only the above attractive guys are getting swiped on. Women have endless choices on these apps, whereas men would be lucky getting even one match. And frankly, what I've heard from women and what I've seen on most of these dating apps from like my friends showing me or something, most men's dating profiles are not exactly optimized. When a woman can only judge you based on your appearance and some lines in your bio, then the main determiner as to whether she's gonna swipe or not is your looks. And the same is for us guys. So if you add most men being bad at taking photos of themselves onto the fact that women can get the cream of the crop guys even if they're just average looking, then you can convince an average looking or above average looking guy that they're way uglier than they are because they aren't getting any matches. These apps completely distort who and what you actually are like in reality. When this happens, and since this is happening more often, we see more and more men running to online communities to confirm their biases. The human brain naturally will look for things to confirm how it feels about reality in that present moment, and so you'll get a guy who in real life is actually not too bad looking, reading all these black pill and incel Reddit posts about how it's over for even average looking guys, and a bunch of stories similar to what he just went through on a dating app, and he will think there's no hope. And if you think there's no hope for you, and that's the mindset that you're giving off to the world, then yeah, nobody's gonna be attracted to you in real life. But we're gonna be talking about the impact of the rise of mental health issues soon. We need to stop basing and correlating online dating statistics with real life. It's been shown that the majority of people are only on dating apps as a confidence booster anyways. It's a tool for validation, not for true intimacy and connection. Okay, so we have most women can choose from the top percentile of men on these apps, plus they can only judge you based on your looks, plus they're only on there because they want a confidence booster and not because they actually want you, then why the hell are we taking evidence and statistics from dating apps so seriously in the first place? Men, my advice to you, if you are an average or below average looking guy right now, just don't use dating apps at all. Honestly, you probably don't stand a chance, but here's the good news. The online world is not real life. That is a phrase you'll be hearing me say throughout this entire video, and the online world is completely screwing up your mental health. That is why I want to talk about something that I think so many of you could benefit from before you step your feet into the dating world again and you try to pursue something meaningful, which is therapy, and specifically online therapy with the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. If you've been on my channel for a while, you've probably heard of BetterHelp before. They will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. BetterHelp has already helped over 2 million people live happier, healthier lives, and they have over 20,000 therapists on the platform, and they're adding more to meet demands. Much of what drives this incel mindset and culture is just a lot of traumatized men projecting their traumas and trying to cope with the fact that they have these problems, these mindset problems, and all these mental health problems that are completely destroying the way reality actually is. And so if you can really open up to someone like a therapist and someone who can actually help you overcome this trauma and all of your bad mental health habits that you have and your low self-esteem, then you can start getting towards the path of being someone who naturally is confident and attractive. On BetterHelp, you can start communicating within 48 hours, and the service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist, and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. And if you find you're not vibing with the therapist that you get matched with initially, it is free and easy to change therapists at any time. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. So if you finally want to take charge of your mental health, escape this incel black pill mindset, and join the over 2 million people that are improving their relationship with themselves and others, then you can go to betterhelp.com/Cole. That is betterhelp.com/Cole. Then click the link in the description, and there's a special offer for listeners of my channel where you get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Cole. Now, along with the rise of dating apps has come a sharp decline in marriage rates. Why is this happening? Are women becoming more selective in real life and not just dating apps? Are women becoming more promiscuous, only choosing the Chads and Tyrones as attractive men are commonly referred to? As an incel, I'm sure that's the argument that you want to make, but that's not the entire story. What incels fail to realize is that women now have more of an opportunity to not be forced to be in a relationship with a man that they don't want to be in a relationship with. Less than 100 years ago, marriage was pretty much a necessity for women. They had less flexibility with the jobs that they could pursue, and the amount of things that they could do only if they were married is pretty astonishing. It's something I first found out when I interviewed people on the street about modern dating.
When we were younger and dating. I mean, you had to get married if you wanted. You couldn't check into a hotel room unless you were married. You couldn't rent an apartment unless you were married. And so, society kind of dictated that I couldn't get a job, my first teaching job unless I was married. So that's changed, obviously, and so there's less pressure.
Is it really a bad thing that women aren't forced to date and marry just anyone now? A lot of men like to use the statistic that 50% of marriages end up in divorce as an excuse to not even bother trying to find a partner. But divorce rates have been dropping steadily, probably due in part to the fact that women are no longer thinking to themselves, oh shit, if I don't get married at some point, I can't do anything. Guess I'll just marry a dude who I don't even find that attractive, but it's worth it anyways. Like, are we seeing that as a bad thing? Now, I still think marriage is set up to be much more advantageous to women, but the reason I'm using that example is just to show how much more freedom that women have now, at least in that regard. They can now make just as much money as men and have the option to choose when they want to settle down and with whom. Perhaps in this case, we can now make the argument that women have the ability to be more picky, but maybe they've always been like that, but they just never had the opportunity to use that. So now the men who lack desirability altogether are being exposed because they can't just force women to marry them. And I don't think it's at all taken to the extreme that people like incels think. For example, a common argument is that most women want a guy that is 6 feet or over. If you're a guy below 6 feet, then don't even try. That's a common saying among communities like the incels and the black pillars. But if you really go past all the traumatized guys spamming that in the comment section, question what they are spamming, an ability that most people don't have the capability of doing, and look at real life, that is not the case at all. A study published by Rice University showed that 49% of women want to date a guy taller than them. The average height for a woman is 5'4", and the average height of a male is 5'8". This means that as long as you're 5'5" and over, you still have a chance with the average woman. And even if you are under 5'5", you still have 51% of the dating market that's willing to date you. You absolutely still stand a chance so long as you have what is considered to be desirable to most women in real life. And don't worry, I'll be going over why most men are not desirable these days and how you can be more desirable at the end of the video. Unrealistic expectations and the change in social values. Can we all agree that the pandemic a lot of things up? Loneliness and mental health issues skyrocketed. People could not interact with each other in real life anymore for the past couple years, and till this day, many people still haven't fully recovered from what used to be much more extreme, and they rarely go outside. This trend was already starting to become more prominent, but the pandemic just sped it up tenfold. No longer are teenagers interacting occasionally through AOL Instant Messenger and having to get their fix of actual social connection through real life. My generation was probably the last one where we at least had a childhood and some teenage years without a smartphone. But now, the virtual world makes the real world go round. So what happens when you take the majority of kids growing up and give them unlimited access to a device where every app is designed to keep you on it for as long as possible, that highlight drama, negativity, what's wrong with dating, men getting cheated on, women getting cheated on, tweets about really bad relationships? It starts to give everyone, both men and women, completely unrealistic expectations. You get a whole generation of people spending half of their waking hours in a reality that does not at all reflect how things actually are. Not only that, but it's so easy to feel like you're getting some form of connection by interacting with people online or watching videos of others, or to use it as a distraction from working on a version of you that is unmotivated, unappealing, and unconfident. It's something that I explained in detail in my video, The Love Shortage. For men, there's a couple key problems. First, there's dirty websites. Having access to this type of content at such a young age will absolutely shape the way most men view women and how they think women like being treated. On a subconscious level, your brain is going to be focused on all the wrong things, and you'll never be able to go beyond superficiality. You'll just be thinking of creepy ways that you can get her to do stuff with you. But the even bigger problem is what happens when men get rejected a couple times. If they haven't been taught at a young age how to approach women, be more confident, and handle rejection, which is the situation situation that most men find themselves in, then they will hate themselves and others. And when this happens, they will start to think that they're just destined to never find a girl who likes them. All of us guys know the complete destruction of self-esteem that a girl's rejection can have on us if we're still stuck in that mental stage of basing our worth based on whether that girl approves of us or not. In some cases, men can get completely traumatized if their situation is bad enough. So naturally, these guys go to the internet for advice or for some sort of confirmation. Because they are in a state of mind that is looking for reasons as to why it's not their fault they got rejected, because they lack the ability to take responsibility, which is a trait that turns off a lot of women anyways, they eventually find themselves on these forums or videos that talk about how men are screwed if they don't have a ton of money, six-pack abs, and they're 6 feet tall. And on all of these videos, the majority of the people in the comments completely agree with what the person is saying. And of course they do, because they don't want to take accountability for the fact that they are traumatized, they don't take care of themselves, and they're socially awkward and have no game. This creates these pill bubbles, as I like to call them, where people can't see a real objective approach to reality and dating outside of whatever pill content they're taking, whether that's black or red pill. It's a bunch of guys coming together, all projecting their trauma and playing the victim because they got rejected a few times or they had their women cheat on them, whatever. But with that being said, I know that I'm gonna get attacked for that in the comments. There are some things that these pill people, whatever, say that are in fact true. But when you completely subscribe to that ideal and you think this is the only way that reality is, then that's when reality starts to get skewed and you get to a very doom and gloom mindset if you take it too seriously and you're just so invested in these online things and what everybody is saying in the comments, like, yes, dude, yes, that's how it is, that's how it is. Like, go outside. If you consume enough of this content, it'll start to shape your worldview and you'll give up hope. Bro, look at this graph this random YouTuber made that said my jawline isn't perfectly aligned so that I can get girls. Bro, look at all these guys in these comments that I don't realize are basement dwellers with zero experience. This content is not real life. But if you believe in it enough, then you'll approach every potential situation with a girl with the mindset of, what's the point of even doing this anyway? She's not gonna like me. I'm so ugly. Everything sucks, and that is going to be unattractive, and of course she's going to reject you then, and then the cycle is going to go on and on. Of course, we should take responsibility for our trauma and where we're at as men, but I do think for a subset of women, their expectations of what they think they deserve has also gone completely haywire. Now that it is easier than ever for women to get validation from hundreds, if not thousands of guys simply just by having a social media presence, they will only want the best of the best, and they think they deserve that. And here's the thing about even below average looking women. They'll get the attention because guys who have been brought up by dirty websites, who are controlled by what's in their pants and haven't had a father figure to tell them how to actually interact with women, will simp over any woman if it means they'll even get a lick of attention back from them. We blame women for having unrealistic expectations, but the reason they have unrealistic expectations in the first place is because of us men. With that being said, here's what is extremely important to understand. The women with unrealistic expectations due to social media attention are probably strongly overlapping with the women who can pick the cream of the crop on dating apps like Tinder, which is most likely a very small subset of women. But this is what I was talking about. All the data, all the stories on modern dating and women, they're based on a minority group. A group of women who you shouldn't even be focused on pursuing anyways, who won't go beyond superficiality and develop a deep connection with you, who won't support you, and who are in fact deluded and just want a guy with a ton of money who's super attractive and in the top 1% of men. These are the women that are highlighted in red and black pill videos because they confirm broken men's biases and they make for good controversial content.
Would you guys ever date a guy shorter than you?
Oh, absolutely not.
The light at the end of the tunnel. Everywhere I go, when I look around in public, I am astonished at how many average to below average looking men have girlfriends. The typical 3s and 4s that don't stand a chance, according to black pill YouTubers, are having tons of success with finding a partner and getting laid. It does not at all match up to what is being told to men on the internet. Plenty of my friends in real life who don't have that great of a job, who don't have a good physique, and aren't necessarily that good looking, have girlfriends. You know why? Because the women that are highlighted and complained about on the internet represent a small subset of women in real life. And even if it is true that women can be more independent and more selective, the pool of which they now select from has a greater chance of you getting picked, so long as you can heal. What all of this doom and gloom and artificial love has created is much less competition with the men who are actually taking care of themselves and actually going out and talking to women in real life. Most men these days have low testosterone, they don't take care of their bodies, and they're depressed. If you can heal whatever social or relationship trauma you went through in the past, have an optimistic attitude, start putting yourself out there more and gain more social experience, genuinely take care of yourself, and have goals and ambitions, you will be miles ahead of the majority of modern men. You are 18, 19, 20 years old, ready to give up on women entirely. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? You don't even know who you are yet. You don't even have a personality yet. You've been rejected like 3 times. You've never had a girlfriend, or maybe you've just had one and it ended really badly, and now your worldview is completely skewed and you're just a doomer. Of course most women aren't going to be very attracted to you. If your mental health is in ruins, start there. Stop spending all your time analyzing black pill graphs and what your sexual market value is, and start spending time figuring out the root of your low self-esteem and social anxiety. Watch videos that uplift you and help you to gain a better understanding of yourself. Realize that you have way more potential and power than you think if you can start to develop the right mindset towards life. And then clean yourself up. Take care of your skin, go to the gym, get a good haircut, dress fashionably, socialize with people, and keep flexing that social muscle so you can start to get more comfortable in social situations and have more confidence when you're there. Put the damn phone down and look around you. See how many average and below average looking guys are still pulling girls because they have high self-esteem, they have game, and they lean into what they like and the interests that they're pursuing. And for the love of God, please get rejected more often. Rejection is the greatest thing that can happen to you. If you can reflect on rejection properly and see what you did wrong, then eventually you will become completely indifferent towards it. And when you're going to a situation or a potential date with a girl with the mindset of, I don't really give a shit how this goes, that is attractive and you'll have a higher success of her being attracted to you. And if after all of that you still get rejected 30 times in a row, then that's the point where you need to start thinking about changing the way you carry yourself. Realize that women are not these mysterious creatures. They're just a human being with the same insecurities and wants as you. Oh, Cole, I have passions and what I'm interested in, but nobody my age likes what I do. Bullshit, you're just not looking in the right places. There are groups of people you can find for anything that you're interested in, and simultaneously that'll be like the best place for you to meet a girl that you have a better chance of matching with. Oh, but nobody my age goes out or even talks to each other in person anymore. Okay, well then find the right people. Those people are in abundance if you look in real life. Oh, Cole, nowadays women are just stop. You're looking for women in the wrong places. Dating apps are not where you'll find the women that you want. If you don't like going out, going to a bar is probably not where you're gonna find a woman that you want. And if you have a shitty mindset towards life and yourself and you hang around with people like that, then you're gonna attract women like that too. Finding events of things you're interested in, taking care of yourself and not being awkward, not needing a woman to make you happy in the first place, having a growth mindset, and getting rejected over and over will eventually lead you to find a woman that you can connect with. You are way more attractive than you think if you can just escape this mindset cycle of hatred and doom. Stop making excuses, stop playing the victim, do what you can with the genetics that you've been given with, and you can do a whole lot more than you think. I promise you that. And improve your body language and communication skills. Because this is not real life. Thank you to all my patrons on Patreon. If you don't know what this is, it's a platform separate from YouTube where I'm putting out exclusive content. Plus, you can talk to me one-on-one over the phone on there. If you want to check that out, link in the description, patreon.com/Cole Hastings. Leave your comments below. I'm very open-minded and I'm interested to see what people think of my mindset towards everything that's going on with the modern dating market. And that is it for this video. I hope it helped you. I hope it inspired you and hope it made you feel a little bit better about yourself. That's it. I love you guys. Peace.